بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for inviting me today. Can I ask you to come a little bit closer? Yalla, everybody.
You still need this.
Okay.
That's only for that.
All right.
Is that okay? Or?
That's fine. Okay, today I intend to talk about self-esteem and what it means and how to build it and how it's involved in the generic leadership skills of a human being, grown up, young, man, women, communities, societies and individuals, how self-esteem influences our lifestyle. So let me know how the talk is going, halfway if I need to change anything, okay? So the topic is how to build self-esteem, which is very important to know and also to propagate and to pass on. So before we can have self-esteem, we have to be aware of ourselves. We have to have self-awareness. We have to know who we are. We have to know what we stand for. We also have to know what's our purpose, how we spend our seconds, our minutes, our hours, what is the goal. Then that will lead into self-esteem. But to be able to do that, we have to have self-motivation. We have to be motivated to stay on target. We have to be motivated to stay on a positive trajectory of life, positive direction of life. To have a positive direction and to be motivated, we have to have a goal in our lives. We have to have orientation in our lives, personal orientation, personal goals, not a goal that we pick up from somebody else. And once we know that, we have to have self-discipline. It is not good enough to say, I love to achieve this, I love to do this, I'm motivated to do that. Without self-discipline, none of this can be achieved. And having self-discipline is not enough. We have to appreciate everything that we have around us. And all these qualities will induce a person to have self-leadership. He will be able to lead his life to a meaningful, purposeful life. Today, we are not going to cover all these items. In the past, we did talk about how to set goals. But the rest we'll cover next time, inshallah. But today I would like to talk about self-awareness and self-esteem. This is very critical, very important. I hope you benefit through attending this talk. And I would like you to pay attention because you are here anyway. So you might as well benefit to the most of your abilities. Don't get distracted. Give me next 20, 25 minutes. We all have things going on outside, but today, this very moment, be here. Be present here. Okay, I will ask you a question. I like to make this interactive, to make it meaningful. So how many of you think that the next Nobel Prize winner in science and medicine will be from this locality? I want you to raise your hand if you believe the next Nobel Prize winner is going to be from this region, from this locality, intrinsically from this community. Raise your hands, I want to see hands. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah? That is not a lot, but it is something. It is something. So how many of you think that the next Nobel Peace Prize winner will be from this community? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next question is, how confident are you that the next Science and Peace Nobel Prize winner will be from this society? How confident are you, 1 to 10? If it is 10, raise your hands. If it is 1, don't raise your hands. All this is to do with how we see ourselves. This is how we determine ourselves. If we don't think we will have this kind of people from our community, it means maybe we do not esteem ourselves so highly. There may be a reason for that. So the point of this talk is to discuss why self-esteem and why don't we have it and how do we raise it. So self-esteem is the health of our mind. How healthy is our mind? How positive is our mind? How good do we perceive ourselves to be? The image of ourselves internally. What do we think we are? So why is it important? What can we do to raise our self-esteem? What is the relationship between self-esteem and self-motivation? How can we modify and manage our self-esteem through goal-setting abilities? So we have to be self-aware before we can have self-esteem. We have to know who we are. We have to know who we are. We have to know what we are good at. We have to know what we need to improve. We need to know intrinsically what we like, what we don't dislike, what's our characteristics. We have to be aware of these things, not as a passing comment, not as a informal awareness, but a real awareness, like we spend an hour a day analyzing ourselves, analyzing our days, our weeks, our months. It doesn't come as a passing or as an informal activity. We have to aim for it. So we have to be aware of who we are. Being aware of who we are, we'll be able to understand our self-image. How do we think we are being perceived by others, by Allah, by others, by our parents, by our friends, by the society at large? How do we think we are perceived? The way we feel is linked to how we see ourselves, the self-image we have of ourselves. And everything that we feel, we think, is correlated to how we think we are perceived. The good thing is we can change our self-image. The good thing is we can change the way we portray ourselves, the way we think about our lives and about us. Because improved self-image means enhanced self-esteem. Are we all on the same page so far? So self-awareness. How do we know who we are? We have to know our background. Where do we come from? What's our heritage? Who do we spend our time with? Who do we listen to most? Who do we talk to most? Who do we admire? Who do we appreciate? Who do we like? Who do we dislike? All this feeds into who we are. And all this feeds into the level of our self-esteem. There's a very well-known saying, he who is aware of him or herself is aware or conscious of her Lord. He is Lord or her Lord. Being aware of ourselves, we become aware of Allah. We become aware of our Lord. So we have to know who we are. And Allah says, Allah will not change the condition of people until they change what is within themselves. So any change has to come from our intrinsic entity, from our inside. We have to induce it. We cannot expect things to change for our life to change. We cannot expect for the society to change, for our life to change. We have to change for the society to change. So we are really the directors, the dramatists, the actors, the villains of us, of who we are, of our self-image. There is no room for others, really. We drive it. Allah has given us the ability to drive our life. I'll give you an example, a case study about a farmer, a well-known farmer, a capable farmer. He farms watermelon, and once he was walking in his massive farm, and he noticed that all the watermelons had the same shape. They all had the same shape, and their shape looked something like this, which is really a wild type of watermelon. So at that time they were small, so he said, let's see what will happen to one of them. And he put a square glass around the watermelon. He put a square glass around the watermelon, and the watermelon grew to be a square. He limited its growth, it ended a square. People experiment on this. Later on they made other types of watermelons, a heart-shaped watermelon. This is for love. But the point is, we can limit our growth. We can design our growth intrinsically. And this is a well-known study by Prescott Leckie, some 60 years ago. Students, have you heard? I will ask you a question here. Who of you raise if there is a subject that you hate? It doesn't matter what it is. It could be physics or philosophy or maths or science or English. Just raise your hand if there is a subject that you hate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost everybody has a subject that they hate. True? So Prescott Leckie, he was a teacher. He couldn't understand why certain kids, they did bad in math and others did really bad in English. He couldn't understand it. So what he did was he took these kids out and he told them, do not say I'm not good at math. Say, I didn't do well, I'll try better, but I'm not bad at maths. I need to find ways of learning math. The same thing, English, the same thing with science. So it was a controlled study of many students, hundreds of students. And the kids who failed whatever subject, math and English, and the next semester after the counseling, they were A+. So why? Because they believed they were not good at math. For some odd reason, because they didn't do well in an exam. The teacher might not have explained it well, but they believed they were not good at it because of what happened to them. Therefore, it is very important that we do not get into a corner of deciding what we like, what we don't like, based on our interaction with the external society. We drive who we are, or we should drive who we are. So the well-known saying, man, know thyself. It means, people, when it was said, know your negative self, know your weaknesses, but it's not enough to know your weaknesses. You also have to know your strength. How can you do better if you don't know your strength and weaknesses? So there are certain awarenesses, certain thinking patterns that help. There are certain thinking patterns that diminish our ability. So the positive thinking that we can control in our mind every day, we can induce these feelings, we can induce this thinking every day, and we could also share this with our friends, with our kids, with our colleagues and parents. We can control our desire, we can control how we feel, we can control our faith, our love, marriage, enthusiasm, hope. All these positive traits, positive attributes, they enhance our self-esteem, and we can manage them. We can manage them, we can benefit from them. However, if we do not take control, if we do not manage these traits, these attributes, we end up having negative traits, negative awareness. The negative awareness are fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, anger, all this negative image, they diminish our self-esteem. They diminish who we are. And then we may complain things are not working, but it is us who is not working. So we have to make sure we enhance these positive traits in our head. We say them every day. We practice them every day. We promote them every day. We talk about them and we practice them. They don't come by themselves. This come by themselves. Fear is there. Anger is there. Jealousy is there. Unless we decide to use these positive traits. So what are the signs of diminished self-esteem? When you don't trust ourselves, it means we have diminished self-esteem, self-trust. When we do not accept ourselves as who we are, if we try to change to appease others, then that is a sign of diminished self-esteem. When we don't love ourselves, I'm not saying about to love ourselves over others, it is just to respect ourselves. When we talk about ourselves in a very grandiose fashion, I am this, I am that, I could do this, we have been that, we have been there, we had dynasty, we have this kingdom, we led the world for 100 years, 1,000 years. When we keep talking about this, it just shows our esteem is low. If we have esteem, we don't have to tell anyone what we are capable of. And then we try to dictate how society should live, how society should behave. Because of our diminished self-esteem, we try to lower people to that level. If we are good, people will follow. If we are leaders, people will follow. We don't drag people, people follow. If we have positive esteem, if we have the right leadership, then people will follow. So we don't have to tell people what to do. So how can we really get handle of self-esteem? There are internal causes that impact self-esteem. There are also external causes that impact self-esteem. This external shouldn't impact self-esteem, but because of the way we are raised, because of the way we think, they impact us. Our beliefs, our practices, our behavior manipulate, impact our self-esteem. These are internal. Belief, behavior, practice, what we say every day, what we do every day, impacts our self-esteem. External, what the messages we get from people, from our parents, from our teachers, from our husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, peers, society at large. What they say about us influences what we think ourselves, influences our self-image, influences our self-esteem. It shouldn't, but it does. Therefore, next time you tell your son or daughter in a demeaning term, be careful. The more you say it, you're trying to print it on his or her brain. Do not ridicule. Do not ill-fate the kids by saying negative words. Your intention is good, but don't say negative words, especially if it is repeated every day. Okay? So what we hear can influence how we feel. What are the principles of self-esteem? Self-esteem is basically having confidence in ourselves. The basic confidence that we can survive, we can achieve. This is some of the principles of self-esteem, meaning positive self-esteem or high self-esteem. To believe that I have the right to succeed in what I am doing, and by the will of Allah I have the right to be happy. And also to believe that I mean something, I am worthy of something, as opposed to say I am worthless. And then to be able to enjoy the benefits of your efforts, These are all signs of positive self-esteem. So when you have high self-esteem, when you have this trait, when you have these principles, when you think you can succeed, when you think you can achieve, when you think you can benefit the fruits of your efforts, then what happens is that your self-esteem is sustained. It stays high. When it's high, you try to do good with your life. You try to do good with your days and nights. When you try, you don't give up easily. You try and persist. When you try and persist, you achieve. When you achieve, your self-esteem goes higher. When it goes higher, you try even more challenging endeavors, and it gets better. And then that fits. It's a cycle that fits into itself. And these ideas have to be practiced and promoted. They have to be practiced and promoted. So it is important for the basics of life. Not only that a person with high self-esteem feels good, but also it facilitates great achievements in life. The roots of self-esteem comes intrinsically. So our ability to use our mind optimally. Our mind is not like our heart. Our heart pumps blood without being asked. That's an involuntary action. But our mind, we have to direct it. We have to tell it what to think. We have to tell it what to read, what not to read, what to see, what not to see, what to hear, what not to hear. So we guide it either to raise its esteem or diminish its esteem. It's interesting that we can choose. We have free will to know what's right and then not do it. And the outcome is clear. It's out there. If we know what's right and don't do it, we are digging. We are going down. Our self-esteem will be diminished. So being aware of what's right, what's wrong is critical. So we can make a decision either to do right or wrong. We are not constrained. We are unconstrained. And that's how we are designed, for a reason and purpose. So we have the choice to think or not to think. We have the choice to brighten our brain with positive knowledge, useful knowledge, or not. Joining the library is free, but 5% of the society goes to the library. And out of this 5%, they go to the library, but they don't finish a book. It may take them a year to finish a book. Leaders finish a book once a week. Leaders, true leaders, finish a book once a week. They are never satisfied with what they know. Their education is never done, even if they are 60, 70, or 80, or 90. They are always on the go, trying to benefit, trying to enlighten and brighten their head. We can respect reality or ignore it. If we ignore it, the outcome is that we have diminished self-esteem. If we respect it and if we acknowledge it, our self-esteem will be higher. We can be honest and dishonest. The outcome is clear. If we are honest, we have sustained self-esteem. If we are dishonest, our self-esteem is low. All this will influence our self-esteem positively or negatively. So basically, we can really learn what can enhance our self-esteem. We can correct our errors. We can confidence and trust in the gift of the thinking process. These are all part and parcel of having self-esteem. A person with high self-esteem do not stop when he or she hits a roadblock. They try another avenue. They seek help. They make dua. They think differently. But they don't stop. There are people, goal-oriented people, CEOs of many companies, prophets. The list goes on. But there are people, role models, who can help us or who can set the ground for us what needs to be done. We don't have to recreate anything. So self-respect, we have to expect that we deserve to be loved and loved. We deserve to have friends and befriend others. We deserve to have happiness. And we have to be convinced that we can contribute value. We can add value to what we do. Whatever we touch, we have to think, how can I add value to this? Is there a way of making this better? Feeling that our well-being is worth supporting. When we feel that I need to make sure that I'm well, that's the sign of self-confidence. That's the sign of self-esteem. One karate teacher, part of his teaching is that first 3 or 4 sessions, he teaches his students to respect themselves, to love themselves. Because if you don't love and respect yourself, how are you going to defend it? How are you going to defend it? How are you going to care for it? How can you brush your teeth every night if you don't think it's worth brushing your teeth every night? How can you eat healthy if you don't think eating healthy is useful for you? You have to respect and love the self in order to take care of it. So self-esteem and self-respect. When we respect ourselves, we treat others respectfully. When we treat others respectfully, we get positive vibes from others. When we get the respect back, that raises our self-esteem, and that goes on in a cycle. It's all expected. It's all out there. We have to practice it and pass it on. We have to practice it and pass it on. So, healthy pride. Self-esteem is healthy pride. To look back and enjoy achievement. A high self-esteemed person would look back at their achievements and be proud of it. Say, Alhamdulillah, I've achieved this. It's different from arrogance. It is a healthy pride. So again, you challenge yourself to trying to achieve more and more and more within reason. And then you have goals that you want to achieve and you follow these goals. This always, when you have a goal and achieve your goal, that enhances your self-esteem. Become who you want. Become what you want, what you wish to teach. You have to become what you wish to teach, what you wish to pass on. This is the basic message of of today: is become what you love to teach. Intrinsically, you don't like to pass something which is negative. Most likely it's something positive. Be it, whatever it is. Boosting self-esteem and self-image. So how do we boost our self-esteem? These are basic criteria, basic scenarios to boost our self-esteem. Try to remember them. There are 4, very easy. Number 1, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Have mercy on yourself. If you have erred in the past, if you have not fulfilled your goals, if you have not fulfilled your dreams, your aims, don't be angry with yourself. Forgive yourself. 100% forgive it. Number 2, forgive others. It's easier to forgive others than forgive yourself. Forgive others, whatever they might have done to you, forgive them. That's a very honorable thing to do. Not only will it promise you highest level of paradise, but also it will facilitate a healthy lifestyle in this world. Number 3, see yourself at your best. Visualize yourself at your best. Always visualize. Induce yourself to see, what do I have to do to be my best, and visualize it. And again, repetition, it will make it stick in your system, in your mind. And keep up with yourself. Don't compete with others. Don't say, so and so did this, I have to do it. No, be yourself, compete with yourself. Compete with your achievements, but not with others. You have your own pace, you have your own gifts. So basically, you cannot surpass your internal limits. So you do not limit yourself. Say, I'm capable of achieving high levels of achievements by the will of Allah. We can change it by experience. We have to try and try and try. Experience will induce the ability to shatter our limitation. Imagination and action are two things that our subconscious, our brain does not differentiate. So imagine positive things. Imagine doing good things. Intend to do good things. Intention. Allah will reward you for intention, for positive intentions, not only in the hereafter, but also in this life. Intend to do the best you can be. Intend to help hundreds and millions of people. Intend to achieve all good goals. Intend. It doesn't cost much, but the benefits are great. Do not worry, because worry means negative planning. It will drag you away from having acceptable or high self-esteem. It will also derail you from your goals as well. Instead, think about self-assurance. I can do this. Poise. I'm capable. Expand self-image. Expand your self-image. Don't diminish it. I'm capable of achieving my goals. And think about what you want to become rather than what you are not. So put more into positive use of your imagination. Basically, we have to use our imagination positively and not negatively. Please do not limit yourself unnecessarily. We might want to limit ourselves for a reason, but that limitation should never be unnecessary limitation. So in summary, practice living consciously. Be conscious of what you say. Be conscious of what you are doing. Be conscious of what you hear. Be conscious of what you see. Be conscious of what you say to your loved ones. Be conscious of what you say to yourself. That will drive your self-image. And accept yourself, who you are. Practice self-responsibility. Be responsible. Never blame anyone. Never blame anyone. That's the highest level of achievement and success. Be responsible for everything that happens to you and try to drive it. Drive it. Accept it. Until we have 100% responsibility for our lives, we have not achieved greatness. Be assertive in what we want to achieve. Be assertive, because that is one way of disciplining ourselves. And we should have to have purpose in what we do. We should not do things willy-nilly. We have to have a purpose. You can't have a purpose to have a break, a vacation, a purpose to relax, a purpose for everything we do in our head. And we should also share that with our loved ones. And self-integrity. Be true to ourselves. At least we have to be true to ourselves. At minimum, at the end of the day, we'll face Allah on our own. We have to be true to ourselves. So this is basically how we can enhance our self-esteem, and being aware will increase our self-esteem. It will motivate our life, and we'll have enhanced self-confidence. It's a cycle that feeds into itself. Basically, the ultimate message is that we have to have belief in Allah, belief in ourselves. We have to do the right thing, in the right way, with the right people, at the right time, in the right manner. We have to be truthful to ourselves and others. And we have to persist on these qualities. And we have to be patient on these qualities. And that's it. I have a magnetic sticker for you. For those of you who attended, I have a gift for you. And feel free to ask me any questions you have. We have 5-10 minutes for any questions. Brother, there is, okay, there is. There is a question here. Okay.
It's not a question, it's just a comment. Thank you so much, Jazakallah Khair. What a beautiful presentation and a very powerful lesson you're giving us. We human beings are forgetful. I wish I have these slides with me so that I can keep on reading it, reminding myself what I should be, what I should not be. But thank you, Jazakallah khair. I hope I will remember some of them.
I will give you this a summary. I'll give you these magnetic stickers.
Okay.
You could use it, inshallah. Thank you, brother. Jazakallah khair. Any more questions or comments, brother?
So I've been seeing this at work. I've been reading quite a bit of papers, and some of the documents often talk about depression.
Depression.
Yes, depression, so-called silent disease that most people don't know. How would how would people present this if someone were to have depression? How would they use this as a way to boost your self-esteem? Do you think this would work for them?
That is a very, very good question, brother.
Or do you think they should seek medical support? Because I've been seeing quite a bit of documents coming in talking about depression, so it's very interesting.
Yeah. No, as you said, the silent disease. That's a very good question. Depression is definitely linked with, it can be clinical, medical. Definitely a person who feels depressed, he must or she must assess the need to see a clinician. Very important. It doesn't mean we don't engage ourselves in these kinds of thought processes, reading books that will enhance our self-esteem. We should always do that. As the brother said, this kind of information, it doesn't come to us by itself. We have to go after it. We have to keep at it again and again. But the depression, I know of a case. This is one case that I know, and people have used it. Somebody who was depressed, and actually that's also its clinical study. That person was told before they go to bed to write 4 items that they are grateful for every night. So in a week, their depression level was reduced, diminished greatly. So being grateful for who you are, what you have, is one of the key elements that can reduce depression. But this is a clinical study. It was shown it works. It does work in Salat when a person who prays his Salat purposefully would seldom face depression. But the question is, if it is really impacting one's life, seeing a clinician is critical.
Thank you so much for this nice talk, very interesting. I believe on all what you are saying, because I usually try to practice all that you are saying. But I know many people who believes in these rules, these suggestions, but it's very difficult for them to make the effort to improve themselves around all this what you are saying. Is there some hadith, some ayat which maybe help them when maybe these brothers and sisters, maybe when they see Quran, it pushes to be to have these qualities and self-esteem, maybe to make them, it gives them more courage to make the effort and improve themselves.
So you're talking about desire. They don't have desire to act. The lack of the burning desire. So the issue is, what you are saying, if I understand you right, they know this mentally, they are aware of it mentally, but they don't have the burning desire to actually do this. So the burning desire, brother, will only come when you have a goal that you really believe in. When you are trying to fit in somebody else's goal, your desire will never be burning, unless you really believe in that person's goal as yours.
But I think that even if you don't have a goal, it's good to have a self-esteem.
Yeah.
Doing for the life of the day, to be in a comfortable situation, a psychological situation. Even if you don't have, you prepare the PhD, you have the goal to work towards the PhD, to become a professor or researcher. There is a goal which motivates you and so on. But many people who have a regular life today, working, even if they don't have a specific goal, it's good to have self-esteem.
You're 100% right. So I need to clarify what I mean by goal. Every person has a goal. A mother have a goal. I'll tell you a story about a mother. For her son to become a king. Yeah? A father has a goal for his son to become a professor. I can have a goal to have a happy day. I had a goal today to come here and talk to you guys, beautiful people. That was my goal today. Goals has limits. Goal can change from day. You can have big goals, health goals, financial goal would be maybe to read a chapter of Quran every day. So goals has different levels, and it's different for every person. And nobody can replace the goal of a mother. She wants, even the son, even the son cannot wish his mother to become a queen. She wants him to become a king when he grows up. But then, when he is able to take care of her when she grows up, he doesn't wish her to be a queen. So the motherhood, we can talk about that next time. But goals are personal. They can be big, small. They could be lifetime. They could be a day, week. But yes, this will apply to every person, to anyone. She has a question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you very much for your talk. I thought it was really important when you mentioned parents' role in raising or even lowering their children's self-esteem. So I was wondering if you could give any practical advice or tools for parents or adults around children and adolescents on how to avoid negative talk or criticism, because sometimes parents may just want their children to be better, and every day, things happen and they can yell at the kids or say, things in negative or critical ways that children can then internalize and grow up, maybe having less self-esteem. So as parents or adults, how can we catch that, in the moment and try to, instead of being critical or negative, saying things, are there tools or advice that you have to help us recognize that? Because I think for children, the parents' role is really important.
Another elegant question. Thank you, sister. We could have another lecture on parenting and how to raise kids with high self-confidence. It's well established. We could talk about that next time. But to answer your question, I'm a parent myself, and a lot of you are parents. So I would say, brothers and sisters, I'm a parent, so please, 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 please do not negatively criticize your kids. Don't say negative words with the intention of achieving positive outcome. Do not do that. Don't do it. It works the opposite. Especially repeated insults. It drags the message into their head to such an extent that the kids start believing it. It goes head on against the wish, desire, dream of every parent. Don't criticize negatively. Don't worry in their presence. Worry is not a term. Worry is a feeling. Kids they feel your vibe. They actually feel it. And they worry. They grow. You bring up worrying kids. Don't worry. Don't negatively criticize. Take what they are doing. They need to be taught, but follow through. Instead of expressing anger, negativity, take what you want to say, express the corrective action positively, and follow through. Anger, people use it in place of following through. I was angry. I didn't accept it. That's not the point. You accepting it, not accepting it is not going to change the status quo. But having a corrective action and following through will have an impact. And don't feel negative. Don't worry. Don't say negative things and follow. We can have a detailed discussion on this and make plenty of dua, a lot of dua, excessive dua, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, at night, non-stop. It's not trivial. to have kids that the best kids that you can bring up. It's not trivial. Does that answer your question, sister?
Jazakallah khair, thank you.
Inshallah. Any other question? Any other? Yeah, go on.
Just a comment. Have you read the news article today about self-esteem rising if you watch the Republican primary debate?
Today?
They did a study on watching Republican primary debate. Actually, yes, it actually boosts people's self-esteem.
Watching the debate.
Just watching the debate,
Yeah.
watching them speak,
Yeah.
found that
Yeah.
people have the self-esteem and self-confidence boost up dramatically,
Yeah.
believing that they're more intelligent,
Yeah.
they're smart,
Yeah.
they know what to do,
Yeah.
and they're more responsible people.
I didn't read it, but I could maybe understand why.
Yeah, it was a hilarious article.
But I would love to. I haven't read it. I was in a camp the whole day. I was working for 4 hours today. But the thing is, I would understand why those people who debate, they really come prepared. Rightly or wrong, they do really come prepared. They are presentable. They make their point. They choose their words. So when you hear them, you learn something. You learn how to talk. You learn how to debate. You learn a fact or two. That boosts your what you know. That actually helps you. So I could
I
understand.
think they pointed out you see the exact opposite.
Sorry?
I think the articles explain people feel that they're somewhat more superior.
The people who see,
Yeah, who watch it. That's what they studied. What they did was
they judge.
they had them do an exam, how they felt terrible about themselves, have them watch a clip, and then afterwards redo the test. They felt that they were really great people, and they can't remember why they felt down in the first place.
In their exams. That's interesting.
After they retested them.
That's interesting. We'll read it. I would like to read it.
Yeah.
But I think always.
It's in the post, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one question. So just one more. I think we're gonna have to close up shop. But I think as a Muslim community, I think we do have a certain level of self-esteem problems because of the attacks that we have to always defend ourselves for things that are not controlled by us per se. In a different country, whether it's ISIS or any other, we seem to have to always defend ourselves. I wonder whether that has an impact as a community on our self-esteem, community self-esteem.
Yeah. Possible, yes, definitely. It does have an impact. You cannot say it doesn't have an impact, but the way we proactively respond is more important than what's being said. So there will always be action, but our responses, we can control how we respond. That's very important. We always have to respond positively. Always have to be. We have to respond proactively and positively. We shouldn't be reactive, and that's a community. It is really something that has to be done by the community and individuals as well. It is individually driven, but then the individuals make the community.
I just want to know, we have Sunday school here. Some kids come with very low esteem on Sunday. Some of the material we can use to enhance their self-esteem. And also grown-up, some of the material you introduced tonight can be used for self-therapy, to have in front of them, like be truthful to yourself and to others, and also be grateful always. Do you have any plan in the coming future to have a little booklet to help people who need help but they don't want to talk to about it?
Yeah.
But they can have this material in front of them and read and go through and learn something, how to deal with the low esteem, self-esteem.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Very, very good question. So there is a handbook that goes with this. It's a workbook. It's for 40 days. Because something that I can tell you, we attend a lecture we forget it. Oh, nice lecture, but we forget it. I have a booklet that goes with this. I didn't print it because last time I printed it, I don't know if people used it or not, but I would like to give you, if you give me your email, I will email. It's a PDF, it's a 40 days, it's action. Every day you have to do something, every day for 40 days. So if you do something for 40 days, it becomes habitual. That's what we are told by the Prophet. So it becomes habitual in your life. So I have a PDF book that goes with this. It's free. I will be happy to email it to you. But what I will ask you to do is to email me back once you complete it, to say that I completed it. That is what I will ask, an email back. If I will be happy to send you. So you have to print it and then be responsible to fill it every day for 40 days. And then hopefully that will have an impact in some. Then you could also pass it on to anyone. Yes, there is a booklet that goes with this.